Nothing like a good, safe friend for a great dark joke.
Part whatever of living with IH. Dark humor is how I am coping with this shit. So before I had talked a lot about like how I'm navigating with all of this, and a lot of this was like therapy. But like on the day to day, how am I keeping my spirits high? Dark jokes. A lot of my friends know. I mean, my humor has always been rather dark, rather morbid, but getting through this, I am the safe friend with dark jokes, and I'm often the one making dark jokes at my own expense because right now, I mean, hell, my brain, we got some shit that is mimicking a tumor, and hey, all I can do is make jokes about it. So, unfortunately, most of the time when dealing with this, we feel miserable. Those of us that have it, we know it's not fun to have. We know that the symptoms, you feel like shit most of the time. And for most of us, remission is a long ways away. Why is it a long ways away? Because the doctors tell us there are really only three things that you can do in order to navigate this. And those things are you try the meds, and the meds are no joke because, the meds have a black box label. And what does that black box warning mean? It means it might make you want to, go through the self-checkout or um make you have some other horrible things, have side effects that make you feel worse than the actual disorder. But hey, there are only two meds that really work for this, and they're like, try them. You can try surgery, a stent, or a shunt, and everyone's not a candidate for that. So it's pretty much like live with it or try weight loss. And for most of us, losing weight is not a simple fix because it's not going to happen easy. I know that for some people, they do prescribe what the fuck is that called? Ozempic and not Emgality, Mounjaro. They prescribe other things which can help you with weight loss. I'm on Topiramate. Topiramate made me lose 40 pounds quickly. I lost the weight. My symptoms got even worse. So it's like, okay, cool. Lost the weight. Symptoms got worse. Didn't help. For a lot of people, the weight loss doesn't do anything. The I in IH stands for idiopathic, which means we don't know why the fuck this happens. So how are we supposed to navigate losing weight when oftentimes exercising is difficult because when you exercise, that increases the intracranial pressure, and that means that you end up feeling worse than what you started with. So sometimes you can't even exercise. So if everything that they give us to do makes us feel worse than what we started with, how are we supposed to live? And also, a lot of the time, you kind of just feel like shit. And then it's like you have regular day-to-day things happening because you still have to live. You still got to go to work. You still got to go to school. A lot of folks that have this are parents. We're regular human beings. We still have to survive. So, how is it that we're going to keep our spirits up? For me, humor. So sometimes it's making dark jokes at my own expense. Sometimes it's just watching funny things. I typically, my comfort shows are Bob's Burgers, King of the Hill, Living Single. A lot of times it's something as simple as trying to ground myself. I will ground myself through physical touch, something as simple as stroking my husband's beard, going for a hug. If he's not here, going for a walk. Sometimes that's not walking far, it's just walking up and down the halls of our apartment complex. If I can get outside, if it's not too hot, going for a walk outside. Something that's as simple, and this is going to sound real woo woo. Taking my socks and shoes off and physically planting my feet on the ground to ground myself to the earth. Real earthy, like spiritual shit, but I need to feel like I am grounding myself back into the earth because I don't know what the spiritual and earth reasons were. There are reasons, but whatever. Um, but I need to feel connected. Also, reaching out to other people. Sometimes it's not about reaching out to other people and letting them know why exactly I'm reaching out, but sometimes it's just the simple act of just texting somebody. A lot of my friends and family, they do know what is going on with me, so I know that I'm getting texts, memes, jokes from folks throughout the day, and so sometimes it's as simple as just sending some bullshit to somebody else. I have a really kind of warped sense of humor, so sometimes it will be just sending some bullshit to somebody, and for me, it's making somebody else laugh because if I know that if I can make somebody else laugh, I'm going to end up laughing, and that might pull me out of my funk. But also, sometimes I know that I need to sit with how I'm feeling because, like I said, this is kind of rough. So sometimes you really do need to sit with these feelings. And by sitting with these feelings, I mean, sometimes it's you've just got to cry that shit out. And unfortunately, crying increases the intracranial pressure. So you just have to roll with what's going to happen with that. And sometimes it's days, multiple days, where you're just crying day after day and you're wondering, why is this happening? What is going on? But you need to feel it because in order to feel it, you can move through it. Um, because it's kind of the shitty part of just wondering, why. You don't know why. The doctor can't tell you why. But unfortunately, you kind of have to feel it so that you can move through it. So sometimes I will just have a good shower cry, and then I will just have my shower cry, move on, then put on some King of the Hill to get some laughs. Um, because that's going to lift my spirits up. And then also, I'll send a text to a friend, a sorority sister. Sometimes I'll call my brother, call my mom, call my dad. Um, Also, for me, my grandmother was one of the most important women in my life. My grandmother passed in 2022. And so, since I cannot call her, and this is also going to sound real woo woo, I've got a picture of her. And any time where I'm feeling like, yo, I need to talk to you, I just look at that picture of her and I start a conversation with her. Because sometimes I'm like, Grandma, what the fuck is going on? Even though I would never have sworn in the presence of my grandmother. I'm just like, girl, what is going on? Because I need to talk to her. And the fact that I can't talk to her right now, because I know that if I were able to talk to her about what's going on right now, that would give me a lot of comfort. So I will wrap myself up in one of her quilts because I do have one of her quilts, and it's usually the quilt that I'm wrapped in a lot of my videos. I will wrap up in that quilt and I will just start talking to her. That helps to ground me, and that also helps to kind of lift my spirits back up. Because a lot of times it's very easy with this to get very caught up in the downswing, in the this feels like this is never ending. This feels like I will never achieve remission. This feels like this is going to be the rest of my life. But I have decided this is not going to be the rest of my life. This is only a tiny percentage of my life. So, changing my mindset about it and just trying to stay focused on the positive. And it's very hard when everything, and when I mean everything, everything feels so negative about it because I physically feel like shit. And it feels like I can't do much and I can't control much. That's also why I cook so much. Because I can't control anything about this. I can't control that the doctors don't know much about this. And the doctors are really telling me, eh, just try. They're throwing stuff at the wall. So sometimes to get out of my head, I'll cook something because I know that I can't control much, but what I can do is I can control dicing an onion. I can control, you know, making something simple. I can control what I'm putting into my body. So controlling the variables that I can control that helps to lift my spirits. So making jokes, cooking, reaching out to people, even though they don't know like why I'm reaching out, they're doing a lot more than what they do know. So those are things that lift my spirits. Hopefully, this can help somebody else to lift some of theirs. Dark jokes for the win, though.